Welcome to the press box of TD Place for a very special CPL Newsroom segment presented by Volkswagen, obviously. Charlie O'Connor-Clark with Mitchell Tierney on match day -1 of the 2025 Canadian Premier League final. We've just seen both Atletico Ottawa and Cavalry FC in training. They have no time left for preparation. It is 90 minutes tomorrow, or 120, or penalties. We'll see what happens. But Mitch, we're here. We've seen these clubs in doing media this week. We've seen them in training. What's your impression of kind of the mindset of Ottawa and Cavalry heading to this final?
Just feels like Christmas Eve, doesn't it? I mean, we're waiting to see what presents we get to unwrap in this game tomorrow. But, so far it's really been an incredible weekend here in Ottawa. Obviously, Media Day yesterday, the awards as well, and getting to talk to some of the players and staff from both sides to, like you said, kind of get their initial vibe. Yeah, it's been an interesting kind of dichotomy of what the two teams have talked about. I mean, Cavalry a little bit talking about how the advantage is in some ways with Atletico Ottawa, as it always kind of is with the home teams. History tells you that in Canadian Premier League finals, specifically under this current format, and in the Canadian Premier League in general, especially over the back half of the season with how much we saw home teams kind of dominate. But at the same time, they know how much experience and adaptability they have, and this is the third final that they've reached in three very different ways to get there. And this year, obviously, coming from that third place spot and winning 2 games to get here, so they'll be incredibly confident, even if they're not necessarily taking the favorites role on their heads. And Ottawa kind of maybe quieter than we thought they would be at Media Day. Considering some of the comments obviously that have come from head coach Diego Mejia and the club all season, but they seem very focused, very determined, and you can tell this final certainly means a lot to them, and they understand the opportunity that they have in front of them, where this has been such a fantastic season for them. Obviously, the goals record coming so close in CanChamp, coming within 2 points of Forge, and how many opportunities they had during the year to pass them. So I think they'll be confident as well. Maybe a little bit more nervous, considering it's such a young group and they don't have this championship experience that Cavalry has. But I think they'll nonetheless be very confident in what they have.
Yeah, both teams are kind of keeping it close to the vest, I think. Today especially, Atletico Ottawa chose not to speak with the media, just a couple Cavalry players, and again, as you said, neither team kind of wanting the spotlight on Media Day yesterday. I think we'd say, both clubs kind of want to put the pressure on the other one. You mentioned favorites there. We did talk about it earlier in the week. We said we thought Ottawa are probably the favorites. Do you still feel like that?
I think so. Again, I think it's 22 unbeaten at home. That is a significant factor. I think with the season they've had, knowing their home pitch and just the crowd, but it really is. I think you said yesterday on the Volkswagen electric blue carpet there.
Electric carpet.
Yeah, I got it there. The electric carpet. That this is really a pick 'em. We can say favorites all we want, but the favorite is marginal at this point, I think, and probably as it gets closer to the game, and even things like Sergio Camargo, if he can play, that makes that gap even smaller. That is already almost non-existent. So I think this is as close of a final kind of as we've seen in a while.
Yeah. So Camargo is kind of the biggest, game time story that we're looking at right now. We did see him training with Cavalry today. He was one of the players Cavalry put up for Media Day yesterday. He said he feels that he's ready to contribute in some sense.
Yeah.
Obviously Cavalry's not gonna give much away, and at the end of the day, you want Ottawa to think he's going to start no matter what.
Yeah.
But whether he's able to play even 30 off the bench, or if he somehow makes it into the starting 11, that's great for Cavalry. But if he's able to make any kind of contribution, what kind of an advantage does that give Cavalry?
Huge. I mean, this is one of the best players in the Canadian Premier League this season. He was among the 5.
Nathan Ingham said he was the best one.
There you go.
The best one ever in the Canadian Premier League. I know they're good friends. But.
Yeah. A ringing endorsement there. But obviously, this is a guy who was Cavalry's most consistent player this year. He played 27 of 28 regular season matches. He was, just so important to what they did and kind of the talisman there. And obviously a day one player who scored in last year's CPL final, so he has those experiences. It will be interesting though because, that Warshevsky moving into a number 10 position with Alva in front of him has kind of been their playoff X factor so far. I wrote about that at CampPL.ca and
check it out.
Yeah, and there's been, countless examples of how well that's worked out and how different that's been for them. So with Camargo coming back in, again, these are the good headaches that coaches talk about, but does Alva come out? Do you move Warshevsky into a different spot? It does get interesting with that, but I don't think it's ever a bad thing to have a Sergio Camargo card to play in a CPL final.
No, absolutely not. And I do think, at the end of the day, if Sergio, if the coaches are happy with him training and he comes to the coaching staff and says, I'm able to start, you have to put him in there, right? Like, he's been their best player this year.
Yeah, I think so.
From the Ottawa side, and we were at the awards last night, Sam Salter kind of cleaned up. Picked up 3 awards: Golden Boot, Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year. We've talked about that Ottawa front 3 a lot. They are absurd.
Yeah.
They've scored so many goals this year. They're so incredibly dangerous. Is that kind of what this game might come down to, is whether they are the heroes or not?
I think so. This is a game, again, where we know probably most of what these two teams will try and do because they've been pretty similar, especially in these playoffs, but all year when they've had kind of their, Calgary, there's been a bit of ins and outs, but that's mostly been injury and absences. When they have their guys, they play in a certain way. Athletic Ottawa have changed very little this year, and that's been a huge part of their success because, like we saw in the championship semifinal, when they go down, they know exactly what they need to do to get back in games. There's no tactical wrinkles or whatever. They've played the same way. They're so comfortable in it. I don't think they're going to change anything to that. So this is the kind of final that will come down to individual performances. And, if you're Athletic Ottawa right now, you can feel pretty confident in the individuals, especially the ones leading your line right now, that, if they get a chance in this game, more times than not, Sam Salter has taken it this year. Balu Tabla has taken more chances than he ever has in the Canadian Premier League before. David Rodriguez has 9 goals as well. That's exactly what you want heading into a final where goals are sparse and you need players like that to be special.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an Ottawa team that, it seems like they're really, really going to be playing for each other tomorrow. They've been very clear. They don't know how many of these players are going to be back next year. Right? Sam Salter, we already know, is going to Sweden.
Yeah.
Alberto Zapater is retiring. By the way, congratulations. That's an incredible career he's had. And for that to end in a final here in Ottawa is pretty special.
Yeah.
We don't know who else is coming back for Ottawa, though. I mean, David Rodriguez is on loan.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if he's back. There's a lot of young players that, the club has been ambitious about saying they want to sell them. So we don't know if maybe Noah Batne gets to look at a higher level this winter. This has been a very special group, and they've talked about it all year, but, it might not be the same one next year. And if they come away without a trophy, they will be a little disappointed, I think. The last thing we do have to talk about, you can maybe see the clouds rolling in there over top of the stadium. It's not too bad a day today. A little chilly. Might be pretty cold tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
I'm checking the weather every 5 minutes, and the amount of snow it's saying we're going to get seems to change. But I think we're pretty confident it's going to be some snow. Pretty confident we're probably going to play with an orange ball tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I've been wanting that for years.
Yeah.
But if it is a snowy, windy, freezing cold game, how does that change things for these two very attack-minded, possession-heavy teams, and what kind of game does that make for?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely changes the game because we've seen it. I think the Forge Monterrey game earlier in this year in CONCACAF where that was a frozen pitch at Hamilton Stadium and guys were slip sliding everywhere and I think I have a memory of either Rezat Rama or Marko Yevremovic sliding halfway across the pitch to go at the end line after that game. So we don't know if this will be a little warmer under the turf here, but it's certainly going to be a little more slick than you're used to. And that takes players adapting,
having
different touches, kind of learning the pitch. But what we saw in that game, Forge Monterrey, and what I think we're going to see in this one is these players, these top guys can adapt and overcome. They're going to maybe take a little bit. We might see a bit of a weird start to the game, but once they figure it out, there's still going to be some spectacular moments in this game. So I think it's going to affect things, but I think we're still going to see a special match.
Yeah, and it's gonna look so cool.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
snowing.
At the end of the day,
Like a Canadian Premier League final in the snow. I mean, it's something that I think we dreamed about happening one day when the league started.
Mhm.
It's going to be a very Canadian way to celebrate this sport, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously the game right behind us. I can see the great lawn of TD Place over there, where FanFest is going to start tomorrow at I think 2:00. All sorts of games and activations and fun stuff, and the band Magic are playing. I think at around like 3:45. Check CPL social for sure, because I actually don't know. But otherwise, if you're in Ottawa and you don't have a ticket yet, first of all, why not? But there are some available. It's going to be a pretty crazy crowd. It's going to be a great atmosphere, as it was in that 2022 final.
Absolutely.
And if not, follow along on OneSoccer or TSN or wherever else you are in the world. If you're in Bangladesh, OneSoccer is available, I believe, so you'll be able to watch Shamit Shom go for his second consecutive North Star Cup. But anyway, I mean, it's always the best day of the year here in the CPL, right? It's you said at the start of this, it's Christmas Eve today. Tomorrow's like Christmas because it's just the biggest celebration of the sport in our country, and we can't wait. But anyway, we just figured we'd chat a little bit here with you guys on the newsroom. Thank you very much for listening all year, or for watching all year, or wherever you've been consuming us from. We'll probably be back with you at some point this week to talk about whoever wins tomorrow or on Sunday. But until then, thank you very much, and we'll see you later.